G'day everyone, I hope you're all safe and well. So with the current travel restrictions in place, I started documenting the surrounding suburbs, which wasn't as boring as what I thought it was going to be. Thinking about Suburbia, it gave me a nostalgic feel, so I really want to emphasize that in the editing process. Trying to give it a filmic look using subtle contrasts and tones, along with some reduction in detail, which film would normally have. I'm going to use one of the photos that I took recently of a house in Paddington around where I live. As a base image, it's quite nice already. It's got some nice tones and colours. So I don't want to go too crazy with that. I just want to make some subtle adjustments. First off, as you can see, it's the house is on a hill. I'm going to straighten up this image. Sometimes I'll use the auto transform tool, which does a pretty good job. Just got to look out for those white spaces down the bottom and the top. It's pretty good. Okay, if we start from the top, I like to work my way down this control panel. Be a slight adjustment to the temperature. Normally just like to warm it up a tad. I mean, living in Brisbane, everything's warm normally, so just a slight adjustment to that colour. I think the main focus here is we just want to bring out that the light in the doorway here. So by warming it up, it'll bring out that yellow. And also, as I said, I'm kind of focusing on the filmic feel. The exposure's looking decent already, but I think for this one we're just going to drop it down slightly so we can bring out some of the colours in the sky. Drop it like so, we can start seeing some of the purple and darkening that blue as well. We can also start dropping some of the highlights, just a smidge, along with the shadows. Whites, we could probably just drop that back a bit as well. And normally with these, normally with the blacks, kind of drop them back and then bring them back up with the tone curve. So we can look at that a bit later. As I said before, I kind of don't like having too much detail, so I normally decrease the clarity. It kind of smooths out the image a bit. Then bringing a slight dehaze, just give it a bit more contrast. I also like to increase the vibrance just a tad, and also the saturation. With the tone curves, normally I just create a standard S shape, but I'll normally like to increase or crush the blacks, I think they call it. Give it a slight adjustment. Bring back that the tone work that we did earlier. That's looking pretty good. Okay, with the saturation, it just really depends on the image, but in this case I'll probably just increase the reds a tad. As you can see, there's a lot of reds in this timber here, so by increasing that, I'll really kind of richen that up a bit. Also with the oranges and the yellows. Especially the yellow, you can see the lighting in the doorway really starting to pop. Normally with the sky, I kind of don't like to have too much blue, so I'll just drop that back a tad. Highlights, normally like to have a slight green. I don't normally go too crazy. Shadows as well, give it cool it down a bit, just a tad. Also trying to replicate that filmic look, I like to drop down the sharpening quite a bit, I mean, most cameras nowadays, they probably almost provide too much sharpening, so I normally like to drop that down and try and reduce some noise to smooth that out. So that's looking pretty good. I mean, sometimes I use this, but the highlighting priority, but I don't really like the corners of the sky to be too dark, so I'll just leave that as it is. And I'll use the gradient tool to come in and just darken it a tad. Coming on the other side, like so. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. It's pretty much getting close to where we finally want to be. I just want to highlight some of the timber here, so I'll just go in with the brush tool and just increase the exposure just a tad. Just reset that, reset the white. Nice. So I'll just start off with the exposure just so we can see where we're at. Just kind of paint that in. Just bring up that timber there. Here. Just a subtle highlight. We just want to increase the shadows just a tad. It's pretty good. Okay, and the last thing is I just want to remove that power line. So I'll just use the clone tool and I'll just paint that out. Like so. Alright, and that's about it. Also, if you can't be arsed fiddling with dials and sliders, I've created 5 different presets called Suburbia. This set tries to capture that Suburbia emotion, and they're available on my website for download for just a couple of bucks. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and it didn't put you to sleep. Bye for now.